for October 9th, 2025. It's Thursday, and I feel like the camera's a little bit crooked, so I'm going to just move this. Let's see here. I feel like we need to go like this. A little bit that way, maybe. I feel like that's a little bit better. So anyway, if you're listening to audio, who cares? But as always, I've got the questions called up, got some shout outs. I've got Emily here with me, and we'll give you our best real world answer. So here we go. Shout out number 1. This is from Monica B. She says, I just have to share that I'm almost 44. I've had 2 babies, and I've been in the mode of trying to get stronger, but thinking that lifetime PRs were behind me. Just lifetime PR'd by 10 pounds my back squat, which has always been a pretty weak lift for me. Even in my 20s, I'm beyond stoked. So that's cool. Let's see. PR's at 44. Melanie, hello, I see you. Let's see. Next one, I think this is also back squat. This is from Tiara. She says, really wanted to retest my 1 rep max back squat and missed Friday's workout. My home gym is out of commission for a bit, but my friend let me invade their space. I logged the 1 rep by myself, kept track of my warm-ups, etc., etc. To say I needed a heavy day is an understatement. I psyched myself up. Once I made it to 135, my previous 1 rep was 140. So psyched yourself up. My friend had to step away for a bit. So I went with no spotter for 145 and started to cry because she made it, and then added 5 more pounds to the bar, went for yet another PR, and not expecting to hit 150, and did it, and re-racked it, fell to the floor with tears streaming down my face. If you told me last year I'd be back squatting 150, I would have laughed in your face and called you a liar. This stuff works, and it builds confidence along the way. That's really cool.
Very cool.
And the final one, this is from somebody who's been in Linchpin forever. And he's just got, life has got busy for him. He's got dad duties and things like that. And so Nasaw says, a PR after so many years with Linchpin. Being a dad, this is from the 7x1 power clean and jerk. Being a dad now, horrible sleep, staying home with my toddler, and no warm-up somehow makes you PR your lifts. What? Yes, Linchpin works wonders if you're being consistent. You don't even have to be perfect. And, it's a big shout out to the amazing community. So he PR'd his 1 rep max power clean and jerk at 102.5 kilograms, which is somewhere north of 220 pounds, with no sleep, a crazy toddler, and a hectic life. So it can be done. All right, let's get to the questions here. Let's see. What did you get on the clean and jerk the other day?
Oh, that's a great question. The power clean and jerk?
Yeah. Do you remember?
160 or 165. I can't remember. For me, it's the most I've done in a while.
It's a good day in the gym?
Yeah, it was. I was happy.
Let me get a bit of water. My voice betrayed me. Okay, so the first question's from John W. So, okay, after my surgery, which, by the way, is open heart surgery, he didn't mention his second one, by the way. After my surgery, they told me to walk as much as possible. It started as down the street, then to the park and back. Now it's up to a 5K with a 20-pound vest a few times a week. What's that and the 3 or 4 Linchpin workouts a week doing for me? John, I'm not sure I understand your question as to what it's doing for you. What it's doing for you in my mind is, I'm not quite sure if what you meant was your doctors just thought you'd make it back to walking, and now you're at doing that with a 20-pound vest, and you're hitting 3 or 4 Linchpin workouts a week? Or are you saying, if I'm doing 3 or 4 Linchpin workouts a week, do I still need to go out for the walks? I'm not quite sure which way your question is there, so maybe you can clarify it actually in the group, and I can try to do that. But I can tell you, if everything that you're doing isn't too much for you, walking's wonderful. Get out there, get some fresh air, get the body moving. It's low impact, the whole 9 years. Of course, you bumped up the game with a 20-pound vest. I think that you are probably one of the people in the world that science needs to study, in all honesty. The mere fact that you've had not 1 but 2 open heart surgeries, and you've come back, not just come back to I can get up and down the stairs by myself. It's no. You're walking that distance with the vest, and you're hitting 3 to 4 Linchpin workouts a week, which 3 will get you plenty fit, fast, and strong. if you're doing 4, we only program 5. That's 80% of the workouts that were programmed. I think people should probably look to you as to what you're doing. So if you can do that and tolerate it, I think you're in a class all by yourself, my friend. So I don't have an answer to your question because I don't fully understand it. This is more just a tip of the cap. It's like, you're incredible. So kind of takes away some of my excuses. And you're crazy because we know that you like burpees. Okay, this one actually I'm stumped with. I'm curious if you have an answer for this as well. It's from Corey C. It says, if you could go back in time to when you first started CrossFit and give yourself one piece of information, what would be the most beneficial in your CrossFit journey? What would it be?
Oh, wow.
I read this one this morning sipping some coffee, and it's been so long. It's been 20 years. And now I also am just trying to figure out, I've done so many dumb things. I'd like to think of one dumb thing that I wish I could have corrected. I'm not sure. Does anything pop into your head?
Is something dumb that I've
Oh,
done?
no, it's just like something you wish you'd known or a piece of advice you could give your younger athlete self.
I mean, maybe perhaps, when I was done being competitive, stop trying to compare myself to the person that I once was, because those time periods in my life were so different, and I don't anymore. I've kind of let that go, but I feel like it took me a couple of years to get there, just wasted frustration for no reason. What difference does it make? But to try to compare myself to a 1 hour workout 5 days a week versus 3 hours of working out 6 days a week, those things are just never going to be able to compare to one another. So
and you're an interesting contrast to me, because I'm competitive in some aspects of life and some I'm not. If somebody beats me in a workout, I couldn't care less. I literally could not. If they lift more than me, like, it makes no difference to me that somebody exercised faster than I did. But there are some people who are so competitive that it does bother them. So I never had to leave that competitive mindset to the back. I think the comparison as the thief of joy would have been good, but I did take it, I almost want to say, far too serious for a while. And I don't know if that's the right phrasing, but I wish I could tell myself now, looking back, like, hey, you're just working out. Like, it shouldn't be a stressful thing. It should be fun. It should make your life better. It should make your day better. And truthfully, for the longest time, even though I wasn't competitive with somebody else, the workout had to be perfect. RX meant a lot to me, and I did a lot of stupid things, like Grace, for example. I have terrible overhead shoulder flexibility. I've been very vocal about. Putting load overhead, it does me more harm than good. But I felt this need to do the workout prescribed, quote unquote, because that's how it was written down. And anything other than that, like a modification, it wasn't the perfect workout, and it was a subpar workout. And I did that for far too many years, and probably did dumb things to my body that were actually detrimental to my long-term health and fitness. And I wish I could go back and just shake myself and be like, you should be training to make yourself better. And everybody's dealing with something different with their knee, their back, their shoulder. And so, like, make a smart decision and get your ego out of there. So that'd probably be it. And eat better. Okay, let's see. Okay, Bethany G. Weight belts, lumbar support for heavy lifting. I read conflicting information on the internet. Not shocking. To be real, I'm not lifting heavy enough yet to feel like I need extra support. Do you recommend it? And if so, when is it necessary? I don't even have a weight belt in the garage. You do.
Know. Yeah, I used mine for a long time. I don't know if it was mental or necessary when I was, again, training. But I used mine for a couple of years, and I wouldn't lift super heavy without it. It just made me feel better. So
there's something to that.
And I think even now with deadlifting, I don't love deadlifting. I don't love pulling heavy off the floor. If it starts to get super heavy, I still will throw it on from time to time. I think maybe for me it's more of a mental thing than anything, to just make myself feel like I have that additional support.
Mm-hmm. Oh. I would say we did an episode where I dove into that. If you want to go and check it out on our YouTube channel or wherever, it's episode 514. It's entitled Accessory Work, Weight Belts, and High Rocks. as a general rule, people, if you are going to throw on a weight belt, they'll tend to throw it on. This is, again, a general rule around the 80% for the 1 rep max neighborhood. When it starts to get into that would be a common place to put it on. The only thing that I will say is I don't wear one, not because of any bias or because they don't work or nothing like that. I didn't grow up using one, and so now when I actually put one on, I find it distracting from what I should be doing with my midline, and therefore it's a detriment. But I think odd in that regard. All I will say is that a weight belt, it's not magic, and it doesn't necessarily give you quote unquote support. A weight belt used properly is supposed to give you like this awareness and something to brace off of to help you help you realize when you do have appropriate tension in your midline. And so you can buy a weight belt, but then you still need to learn how to get tension in your midline. So just make sure that you're doing that as well.
I don't think there's a right or wrong answer on that. I know
For
some
sure.
people are like, oh, you can't use one, it will become a crutch. I'm like, if you're working out in your garage by yourself, who cares if you have a crutch?
Yeah,
Use your
for sure.
crutch. It just doesn't matter.
Let's see. Okay, from Keith G. I'm curious to get your take on this. There seems to be a distinct lack of both odd object and transverse plane work in the CrossFit space. Not just with Linchpin, which I kind of get because there's no way to know if people have the gear at home, etc., but in CrossFit in general. Given how incredibly functional these are, why does CrossFit seem to turn a blind eye to them? I'd love to see more sandbag or dumbbell bear crawl drags, push-up drags, sandbag tosses, sandbag cleans, landmine work, etc. I feel like a totally different human being when I did movements like that in a box years ago. So, okay, we did a show on this as well. Keith, if you want to go back and check that out, it's Linchpin Conversations, episode 389, and it's entitled, Should We Train Rotational Movements? So it's an entire show about that. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with it, the planes of movement, one of them is the transverse plane. It's basically like rotation and twisting, if you will. And it is, you're absolutely correct, Keith, like it is largely vacant in CrossFit as a strength and conditioning program. And then the question becomes, well, are we missing out on something? And so here's what I will say. I take this for what it's worth. I'll give you the CrossFit's general reason as to why. Their reason as to why is that there's two things, let's say, you can do with the midline. It's probably an oversimplification. You can rotate the midline, okay, which is by rotating it to some degree, you're releasing some tension in your midline so that you can move. And the other one is you're going to stabilize your midline. So you're very intentionally going to resist degradation, resist rotation. And the thought process is that resisting rotation and developing midline strength and stability, while large external forces such as cleans and deadlifts and squats and whatever are trying to perturb that midline and compromise it, and you develop the strength to resist it, that's incredibly more useful, and you have to be much stronger in order to resist that midline flexion and rotation than to flex and rotate. And so if you can do the resisting, you have the ability to rotate, but it doesn't necessarily go back the other way. Now, maybe in your case, you're not finding that this is because you seem to be, have an affinity for these movements, which I think potentially, this is not meant to be insulting, please, might color your judgment. Because if there is a particular thing that I love and it's benefited my life, or you love and it's benefited your life, it can be easy to paint with a broad brush and say, well, it's really working well for me, so everybody would benefit if they did that. I have those things. My life is better when I do accumulate a 2-minute dead hang from the bar, because as I said before, my shoulders are so terrible. I feel better when I do that. I feel like everybody should do that. Everybody probably doesn't need to. I do the couch stretch every single day of training, whether I'm using, even if it's just an upper body day, because from having a hip surgery, I just feel better when I do that. I feel like everybody should. Everybody might not need to. I would say the largest real world test would be if you have something that you feel is profoundly functional and necessary, okay, and it's mission critical. If you exclude it from training, it should be glaringly obvious that now everyone is performing at a deficit. And so what I will say, after working out personally for 35 years, been doing CrossFit nonstop for 20 years, been all around the world, met with countless athletes, just general population. I have personally not seen anyone have absolutely any degradation in their physical ability on planet Earth by not doing rotational movements. And maybe they're out there, but I'm just giving I've never seen it. Um, and so therefore, I don't feel a compelling need to add it in. I think what would serve most people well most of the time is doing what we said, get astonishingly strong at stabilizing your midline, and then if you are doing some sort of a sport or activity which involves rotation, of which there are plenty, swinging a baseball bat, for example, right now, we're leading up to the World Series. When you go to your sports specific training and your practice and you're getting back batting practice and you're throwing the baseball, you're going to get in plenty of rotation and twisting there. And then the strength and conditioning program that you're doing in the gym, like the two will complement each other very well. But for most people, I don't think you're going to notice whether you are or aren't doing Russian twists in your garage. I think you'll notice if you don't deadlift. I think you'll notice if you don't squat. I think you'll notice if you don't do pull-ups, if you don't do box jumps, if you don't sprint. I don't think you'll notice that. That's just what it's shown me, but I'm curious, you actually being the athlete, like a D1 gymnast, which talk about a sport that has a tremendous amount of like crazy rotation through the air. In your training, did you guys do a bunch of trunk twists and like to get stronger at twisting?
It's funny, not really, because twisting in the way that we did it, unlike, like a ball sport, like a racket sport, you're not really twisting from your midsection, you're twisting from leading at your shoulders or even your feet, because everything stays stacked on top of each other. You're not really ever like separating your upper and lower body. So we didn't do a ton of twisting stuff. But I think you're right. I think there's only so many hours in the day and there's so many things to work on. So I guess I personally view, I'm just going to pick one, the landmine twists. I think those are more of like you've already got such a foundation of strength that you start putting in the smaller pieces. But that's not necessarily
They're not
where
the main
everyone's
course.
at. Yeah, and I think, so this question gets asked to me a lot in the youth sports world when I'm around my kids' friends' parents. It's about specialty training. Well, I play baseball, so I need to do this specialty training. These landmine twists have been, it's specialty baseball training. I'm a basketball player. I need to do a specialty jump training. Yet when I watch these kids, they literally can't do a set of 10 push-ups. They're so weak. They can't squat properly. They're so weak. Their knees roll in at the bottom. And I'm like, I just don't think that they need specialty training. I think they need basic strength and conditioning until they're maybe like a little older in high school and they've gotten that foundation. But I just don't think a sixth grader needs to be doing, the specialty stuff.
Yeah, and I would say some of the other stuff as well. Let me get it here, Keith, that you mentioned, for example, like the sandbag or dumbbell bear crawl drags or the push-up drags. They're hard. Like, don't get me wrong, because you're in like a push-up plank sort of position for an extended period of time, traversing across the floor. Like, that's gonna get really hard really fast. Like, it is what it, because you have little muscles trying to support your body weight. So like, it's hard, but something can be hard and not give you the same bang for your buck as something else. And so I would think hard.
I did a tremendous amount of those. We did do a lot of those. But again, then when I started like truly lifting weights, because I didn't do that, I was very weak.
And you don't do them now, and there's nothing that has crossed your path in your daily life that you've been like, I need to add in some, whatever it happens to be.
No, I don't think so.
So that's the biggest. There's the litmus test right there. Does the exclusion of it have any negative impact? And I think for most people, the answer is no. Some of the like talking about functional movement patterns, again, they're hard, but like some of the ways you're moving load with like those sandbag, bear crawl, and things, like it's challenging because you're using a little muscle to move something, but it's an odd way that you don't use something that, like, you're either like dragging something up like this, which you very rarely do, like a front weighted raise in the real world, or like or this like sideways across your body. Like, I'm sure it's difficult, like for sure, because you're using these little shoulder muscles to move in an odd way, but I don't think the payoff is worth it. And if you said, I've got this many hours in the day, what's the most efficient use of my time? That wouldn't be in the top 10. I guess that's what I would say. So it's, again, if I also believe you, you said that your life is better when you do them, my friend. You want to throw them in a couple times a week. You've got some spare time. Like, absolutely. I'm going to do, like I said, the bar hangs and I'm going to do what makes me feel good based on what I've done to my body. You can absolutely do the same for you. Some of the movements you said are wonderful movements, such as, where was it? I'm sorry. The like sandbag toss, sandbag cleans, and things like that. Well, what you're talking about there, they're fun movements. You're tossing something, but if you're like, why is that movement beneficial? That can be done with other ways. You don't have to toss a sandbag. If you can toss a sandbag where you are, great. But you're talking about explosive hip opening. You're talking about power. You're talking about glutes and hamstrings. You're talking about midline stabilization. Those things are what we train, and we have so many, and we hit them plenty. Like tossing a sandbag would be one of many, many, many ways to do it. The most important thing is, are you training those movement patterns, such as explosive hip opening? The answer is a resounding yes, like in the overwhelming stuff that we're doing. I think that's all I had there. And I just tend to think, again, with the rotation thing, whether it's throwing a baseball, swinging a tennis racket, like, and all that stuff, that if you had an athlete come to you who, I don't know, did a bunch of like rotational trunk work, but had a terrible squat and a terrible deadlift, you could, obviously train them. But if you had a different athlete come, you're like, I don't do any rotation work, but I've got a 500-pound deadlift and I can back squat 400. You're like, we're going to teach you how to throw just fine. Like again, and I'm not trying to be sarcastic or funny, like the transference, I think, is largely skewed to one way or the other, I guess, for the bang for your buck is what I'm trying to say. Okay. From Ike N. An interesting thought experiment. What if you're able to program some of the games workouts and the Monster Mash workouts aren't far off? Yeah, there were a few years that I programmed the workouts for the Masters at the games, and it's cool. You don't get me wrong, but it does take a tremendous amount of time, and yeah, it would be we could do some fun stuff. If that came down the pike, we'd make them burn. Let me put it that way. Patrick S. After doing the pull-ups and the dips, which by the way lit me up, on Saturday's workout, I was curious as to why you chose the 10 down to 1 rep scheme, although all the sets were hard, in contrast to a 1 up to 10 back down to 1, or a death by as the beach body test. Is there a different stimulus you're trying to achieve, or to test how far you can go, etc., etc.?
Oh my gosh, if we had gone 1 to 10, 10 to 1, I would have been out there for 72 hours.
So the short answer is, on that particular day, like why the 10 down to 1 was chosen was when I did all my like research for building that 4-week block of training, and not only identified like the style of pull-up that we wanted to do, but then we would look back as to what were like some of the most recent rep ranges, total volume that we achieved, and then how do we get to that total volume, and to make sure that we were hitting, the right variance, not random nonsense, but the right variance that we should. So, did we most recently do a 21-15-9? Was it kipping or strict? 10 down to 1 is descending, and that's going to get you in 55 reps. 1 up to 10 is going to be same number of reps, but different. Like beach body, there's a time limit, but you go as far as you can. 1 up to 10 back down to 1 is 100 repetitions. So there's all these different ways that you can do it. And so I wanted, on that particular day, the overall volume that I was looking to accumulate was around 50 repetitions. Okay, so 10 down to 1 gets you 55. And I wanted it to be a descending rep scheme because the movements that we were choosing was 2 movements, and they were both really difficult because they're strict and not kipping. Strict pull-ups are hard enough for most people, but they were strict L-sit pull-ups. And so 10 down to 1, like thank goodness at least the reps were going down, right? And then paired with a strict dip. And so it was this opportunity for somebody to get an appropriate amount of volume while giving them a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel, because as the fatigue increases, at least the repetitions are going down. So, but it's always the rep schemes, just like the loadings, just like the movement patterns, just like the time domain, they're all based upon where we've been and how they fit into the overall scheme. And the ways to do that are almost limitless, quite frankly. Okay. Brian T. I've read your ebook on programming. I like to geek out on stuff like that. I have two questions related to that cycle of work. First, on average, approximately how long does it take you to complete a 4-week block of programming, factoring in your daily work habits, life, other commitments? Other commitments? Oh, no. Secondly, assuming it does not take you 4 full weeks to plan out a 4-week training block, do you typically take a few days away from programming to focus on other aspects of the business, other professional, personal responsibilities before you dive back in, etc., etc., a mental reset per se? So this is going to be an overall simplification, but are you shaking your head?
Yes.
You're a workaholic. The 4-week, creating the workouts for the 4 weeks takes about 2 weeks. Okay, and that's just the workout of the day. Okay, not the wild card, the scaled, the limited equipment, and the no equipment. Just the primary workout of the day. To go backwards, to do all the analysis, to figure stuff out, to figure out where we're going, and then just to go it over again and to polish, and like I was saying earlier, to remove whatever is unnecessary and make sure that you're doing that to the best of my ability, and then get it to the point that I'm actually happy with it. That takes about 2 weeks. Then the 3rd week is usually creating all those other workout options, like I said, the limited equipment, the scale, the wild card, the no equipment. While I'm doing that, but I've finally got that's done, Matteo over in Italy will start working on warm-ups, goal times, and accessory work. Then also in the 3rd week, once I finish the other workout options, then I'll start filming all the daily workouts. So there's, to include the affiliate programming, is 7 days a week. And so there's 4 weeks of programming. There's 28 videos that need to get filmed about detail for each workout. That's going to take the remainder of the week as well. And then we're into the 4th week. I'll start to upload all those to YouTube and get all the document ready to send over to BTWB to get uploaded into the app and all that stuff. And then I usually have a few days before that cycle starts all over again. And you're right, it probably would be great to sit in the lawn chair in the backyard, but my brain doesn't work that way, that I will be interviewing somebody, I'll be doing something else, or
in between your customer service, you're the merch guy,
and like there is no, it's me. Like you send an email.
Community engagement representative.
Right. I mean, I'm in the face. Like it's me. Like you don't get offloaded to somebody else. This is the full-time thing that we obsess about. But even if there are a few days, I probably start like looking forward and seeing what what could be in the next 4-week block. So it takes a shockingly large amount of time, and hopefully that's why it works. But yeah, I should just some other endeavors. You know what I mean? Let's see. Okay, this is also from Brian here. I like this one. I'd like to get my deadlift to 305 pounds. I feel stuck around the mid 200s. What's the best approach for that? Should I stick strictly to the programming and be patient, or should I add a weekly deadlift session, either in place of a prescribed heavy day or strategically as an accessory? I've realized that more isn't always better, but that is a lift that I want to hit. Full disclosure, by the way, I appreciate the full disclosure part here. 49 years old, 5'7" tall, 150 pounds, had minor low back surgery 7 years ago for a herniated disc, but on heavy deadlift days, I really focus on technique and mechanics. I have not followed the program consistently over the past 12 months, but that's my plan moving forward. Anything jump out to you?
I have a feeling just with consistency, you'll likely see things go up because there is some built-in cycles, if you will, within the programming on its own, but that's just my high level.
First of all, let me say that I think your goal is very realistic. Okay, so if you're in the mid 200s and you want to get to 305 pounds, so let's just call it 250. So yes, adding 55 pounds to your deadlift is a robust increase in your deadlift, but what you're getting it, and you're a relatively light body weight, 150 pounds, but in the grand scheme of things, like a 2 times body weight deadlift is a very realistic goal. So I feel, and as long as the back surgery you had 7 years ago right now is fully healed and it's not an impediment, I think you're going to have success. I've got a bunch of things jotted down to keep it from being random, so I'm just going to read them in case I get off track. So here's what I wrote down when you said this. How to increase your deadlift. Double your plank hold. Whatever your plank hold is right now, go test it, double it. Just make that a goal. Glute ham raises are your friend, or Nordic curls, whatever you have the equipment for. They are wonderful. They are profoundly difficult. Don't be surprised if you can't do one and you need to use an assistance band or something, but work on them. Increase your strict pull-ups. Everything's better in life is better with strict pull-ups and a strong back. 100-meter sprints, 200-meter sprints, 400-meter sprints. Actual sprinting with intensity and intelligent. Don't blow out a hamstring or a calf, but I feel like they're just as potent and powerful as a heavy day. Bulgarian split squats. Good for all the musculature that you want to strengthen for your deadlift, glutes, hamstrings, midline, the whole 9 yards, but also specifically your quads, because while your glutes and hamstrings are a hip extensor, it extends your hip, which is that hinge part of the deadlift, your quadricep is a knee extensor, so that locking out of your leg is a big part of the deadlift, and quad strength is going to help you there. So we get a lot of stuff we're doing on the back side and on the front side as well, and you'll see Bulgarian split squats not only on occasion in the workout of the day, which makes everyone frown, but also in the optional accessory work from time to time. Good mornings, squats of all types, farmer's carries, hip thrusts, glute bridges, barbell rows. Again, a lot of the stuff makes its appearance in the optional accessory work, so it might be something you want to check out. And then when deadlifts do come up, variance is your friend. Do you always do touch and go? You can do dead stop. You can do deficit deadlifts. You can play with the style of deadlift that you're doing. And then in your own words, which I think, thank you for being so honest, that you haven't been consistent for 12 months. I mean, man, consistency is absolutely critical. Stacking bricks in the wall each day. Those training sessions pay off. Consistency is critical. Trust the process. I don't think you need to do anything outside the workout of the day and dabble in the optional accessory work if you're ready for it. Intensity drives results, my friend. So if you're looking to have this goal, you're going to have to train with some intensity. Now, you're 49 years old. Watch the modulating intensity video that I make every Monday, because while intensity drives results, if you're not allowing yourself to adequately recover, then you can't train with intensity. So you have to find that beautiful balance for your life. Get your ego out of the way, scale when you need to, and train smart. And my wife hates deadlifting.
Very much so.
Okay, let's see. Nico's here. Nico's G. First of all, that's kind words. Thank you. Right back at you, my friend. Secondly, I play basketball in a rec league on the weekends, and up to this year, I usually did it on Sunday instead of resting on Sunday. This year, I think I want to stagger a heavy day before and have 2 legitimate rest days. Thoughts? As I've said before, it's up to you. Your life is you gotta have fun with your life, right? You enjoy your rec league, and so there's nothing wrong with you. Are the workouts set in a particular order? 100%. Without question. Is moving the days around less than optimal? Also, yes, 100%. But it's life. You're going to be okay. So if you want to move days around, you might get more interference, than you should. Maybe you hit something a couple days sooner than you would have. But if giving you a couple rest days in a row makes you feel better, it improves your quality of life, your work-life balance. You're in the gym working out so you're going to have fun at the rec league basketball. My friend, give that a whirl. Give it a try. I think you're going to be totally fun. Again, I think it's small potatoes.
I bet you're a beast playing basketball, rec basketball. I have a feeling the other people on the court probably don't train like you, so I bet you've got
I bet you're right.
some endurance over the others for sure.
Okay, this one I'm curious to get your take on. So this is from Paul S. Why do wall walks eat me alive? I really have a hard time maintaining a pace that allows me to keep moving. As soon as I have done 3, my whole body seems to go on strike. They really suck the whole life out of me as soon as there are more than 5 programmed. Others look like they blast right through them. Is it a mobility thing? My shoulders feel like they are the limiting factor. Any tips are welcome.
Probably for a number of reasons. First of all, upside down breathing is difficult, especially when you're not doing it all the time. It's a very different stimulus than sitting here breathing right side up. So I think that is probably something to do with it. Depending on how tall you are, you're moving maybe a lot more limbs in and out of the wall. So you're probably traveling a much further distance than if you watch somebody like myself who's 5'3". I'm probably going to buzz up there faster just because I have a smaller body to move around. And then, yes, mobility definitely plays into that. If you have the ability, once you start going upside down, to kind of drive your head through your shoulders, it almost creates a little bit of momentum that you can keep, inching back towards that wall. But if you can't create that, you almost get stuck. And every time you lift your hands is where you're getting that momentum from. It definitely makes it more difficult. So you're breathing upside down. You're trying to move quickly, your shoulders are going to fry, and then it probably feels like you can't breathe.
Did you guys ever do something like that in gymnastics? Because I feel like this is one of those movements where it almost was birthed in the. If we didn't see it in the open, we'd never see it again on the face of the earth. It's like handstand push-ups were a nightmare to judge in the open. There's 28 different standards. No one liked it. Handstand walking is also a high skill movement that might knock some people out. And the wall walk came around as this kind of nice hybrid where it's range of motion, shoulder fatigue, inverted, the whole 9 yards. You don't need strict handstands. It's a lot easier to judge. You don't need this 5 meter thing off where you're like doing the handstand thing. It fits really well in the open. And I think that's why it can be forefront on some people's minds. Did you ever see it anywhere prior?
I don't remember. I have to think that we did. I remember being upside down doing like shoulder taps where you bring your hand all the way down to your thigh. But I don't remember. I have to think we probably did. Just watching Lane, that's how she's been learning to get into a handstand.
True, yes.
But I can't, I don't specifically remember.
And, the mobility, if that's it, that could be one thing. But if it's just some stamina thing, I wonder if just some more time inverted, shoulder taps, be it strict handstand push-up, or just trying to hold a static handstand push-up, like just maybe that would be some good sort of stamina in that position.
Yeah, and honestly, just handstand holds against the wall, but like really good ones where your hand is stacked on top of your shoulder, and your abs are super engaged. I think so often when I watch CrossFitters do handstands, it's just like everything's in different directions, and it's really hard to start moving once your body is in all of these different shapes and positions. So if you can really work on proper handstand positions, your shoulders start to get fatigued, you start breathing heavy, and then force yourself to remain nice and tight upside down. It will definitely help.
If anyone, I don't know how nice this microphone is, can hear what sounds like an odd sound that is potential like low resonating flatulence, I promise you that it's not. Our dog is right out in the hallway snoring.
I wondered what he was doing. I thought he was in the living room.
No, he's snoring right there.
Is he dying back there?
Okay. 2 more questions. Justin, brother, I'm not sure I understand your question. Here's what it is. Using a barbell for the limited equipment track, which that's the dumbbell track. So I would think if you had a barbell, you wouldn't do that track. So I'm confused right away. Using a barbell for the limited equipment track, how does that look, especially when talking about single arm movements or carries? I'm not sure what you mean, like single arm movements. A lot of things we do with a pair of dumbbells, because obviously it's the limited equipment option, it's the dumbbell option. And if you're using a single dumbbell, it's probably like we had one arm dumbbell thrusters will come up every now and then. You have a dumbbell in one arm for like power snatches and things like that.
I wonder if maybe he's saying like he doesn't have dumbbells, so like a farmer's carry with a barbell or.
I mean, it's most certainly possible. It's just the balance on such a long object, like if your hand wasn't absolutely in the perfect place, it would probably be a very frustrating experience. And then even if your hand was in the right place as you're walking and the bar starts to kind of oscillate and move back and forth, it would probably be possible, I would say, to do many one-arm movements with that, but extremely difficult. Um, so yeah, one-arm movements or carries. Possible, but very, very, very difficult. Probably should do just the two-arm movement, I would say. Josh B. Okay, final question. Hey Pat, my left side doesn't fire with as much power in dynamic pulls as my right side when I get fatigued. For example, when I get tired, I chicken wing bar muscle ups to my right, catch heavy power cleans higher on my right side than my left. It doesn't seem to be a strength imbalance, as my left side seems as strong or even stronger in dumbbell rows, strict pull-ups, etc. Any suggestions on things to try to address this, or is it just a matter of concentrating on my left side when I'm tired? I would say turmeric and red light therapy.
Patrick.
um, you know, I will admit when I'm outside my scope, and I guess the short answer is, man, it could be so many things, and it sounds like you don't have an obvious thing that's jumping to your mind, or I feel like you would have included it. So, for example, when I squat or do things, I can tell you that my left side is stronger than my right side, and I have a quote unquote imbalance, and I don't, but I know why that is. I had a hip replacement on my right side. It's very obvious to me as to why that's occurring. But since it doesn't seem like you know why, it could be any number of things. My number one recommendation would be, I think you're going to have to go to somebody that is a competent, professional body worker, clinician, physical therapist to get some sort of an assessment. I think any of us trying to guess as to why you have that going on would be at its very best just guesses. I think that's my very truthful, honest assessment. You know what I think?
Yeah, I mean, yes, all of those things. And then sometimes, if you're right-handed dominant, I think sometimes you are just ever so slightly stronger on one side than the other side. I know I am. I'm a righty. I'm stronger on my right side.
I'm perfectly balanced.
And I think sometimes when you start to pull with one side, it's almost just habitual. And then it just keeps happening, and then it becomes a pretty bad habit that's really tough to break, especially on things like the bar muscle ups. If you don't quite have them, then you just want to throw that stronger side over the top every single time. So I think, really thinking about when you're pulling off the ground or when you're catching or, what you're doing.
Good morning from Sydney, Christopher. Man, yes, Sydney out there in Australia, the Gold. I don't know if that's the Gold Coast, but I've been to Sydney a bunch. When you get tired, do you chicken wing on the muscle up, or do you feel it coming on, you just stop?
No, but I also think I've done those movements for so long that it's no longer a thing. But when I was little and I first started doing a kip, always, and if you watch little girls, they always pull with one side. It just seems to be the natural thing that your body wants to do, is pull with that stronger side. And so then it's like, nope, we got to go back to the lower bar. We got to work on all the drills. We got to work on your swing.
And did
so that
your
stop
coaches
doing
say that with kindness?
Probably then. I was very little.
So I think that's everything. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to say this at the top of the show and I forgot. Life has been lifing. Life has changed. Life throws you curveballs. Things pop up. Life laughs at your plans. I thought I'd be heading out for the Rogue Invitational. I'm not going to be able to attend the Rogue Invitational. I was very much looking forward to seeing any Linchpin members that would be over there. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case. So it is what it is. But I will see you all online as usual. Today is a rest day. I usually take Thursdays as my cheat day. I went ahead and did that already.
You did?
I did. When I was at the grocery store, I bought a nice piece of carrot cake and 2 M&M cookies, and I had that. And I knew that if I did that and I didn't buy you anything, you'd be cross with me. So there's something in the freezer for you.
There is.
Just make your day right there.
I did. I'll be in the car for the remainder of the afternoon into the evening.
Well, it'll be waiting for you right before you go to bed because that's optimal nutrition time. Just bang, right there. So anyway, another Aussie from Brisbane, Brizzy. All right. All right, everybody. Well, keep being awesome. Keep support one another, Linchpin, and we will see you online.